Hey traders, Nick here. Revisiting a couple of mega caps that reported earnings tonight. I'm doing them one or two at a time. I just did Google. So this one is for Microsoft and Twitter. I'll start with Twitter. So Twitter it's been stuck in a range for a couple of months. Big range, and within an even bigger range. So this is crazy. This is crazy. Somewhere in the middle lies the truth, kind of what they say. So it makes sense. But look, it extends backwards too. So they broke out from 55.40. They came back and retested for footing. So arguably the breakout is around 52.50, 50 something, somewhere in here between this one and that one. Keep that in mind. It comes into play in a little bit. So it's been kind of drifting lower but stuck sideways. A couple of points here before I even get into the overnight action. A lot of overhead resistance going into 68.40. Not only for this fail, that fail, and that fail. It's this cluster and this cluster that provided a lot of volume there. That orange line I didn't draw. It's automatically drawn. Look, it's a big peak in volume. So it's congestion. You can't just go through it like water, but once you clear it, you slingshot higher. So job one, beat this one. Job two, beat this. If you want to look at July 23rd, that is the nasty candle to beat. So job one here, job two, July 23rd candle level. That's on the upside. On the downside, if you come to me today and say, hey, is this a good time to buy Twitter? I'd say it's an okay time to bet long on Twitter because it has support. But if it loses 58, it could go down to 52. These would have been my comments today before the earnings. It just reported earnings. Let me bring you what it did. But before I do, if you haven't watched the Google video, I always say, if you've been with me for a while, the actual reaction overnight, like the reaction to the earnings in the price, has almost nothing to do with the quality of the report. So if you said, I took a long position in Twitter for the earnings as a trade because I think they're going to beat, it's a mistake. It's a proven fact, not my opinion. How do I prove it? Okay, I'm going to use Google. So Google reported a report. They fell on the report. They beat the expectations on all counts. They increased revenues by 70% to last year. Actual results, not expectations. They also increased sales by 40%. So there was no weakness. They beat. Okay, and the stock fell. That's proof positive that they're not related for the reaction. Okay, now down the line, them beating this big means that, okay, their future looks good. But as a trade for the earnings, that's not the determining factor. In fact, do more homework about expectations. If you can nail what the net effect of expectation is out there, which I can tell you can't, then that's your asset. Until then, it's a coin flip overnight. Okay. Back to this guy. So let me show you what this guy did overnight. So they announced earnings, and that's the action that happened. The earnings came out. This was where it was trading today. Whoop, straight down to 56.2. Okay? And they immediately rejected it. They went back and went green, and now they're at 64-ish, 63.4. So, positive reaction to the earnings for Twitter. They're higher than where they closed. But that shock down there, that's usable information. So let's see if we can put it on the chart. 56.2. I just did actually, I think, unless I messed it up. 56.2. So this is, I just put it overnight flash crash earnings 1026. I will keep that on the chart because it comes into play. So what do I do with that information? If I wanted to sell puts or put spreads, that'll be a target I have. Hey, they thought the you-know-what hit the fan that one night, and they threw at it as much bearishness as possible, and they got to 56.2. So if I hide behind it, chances are there are buyers there. They were there in full force overnight, so the chances are, and look where that puts us. 56.2. Look left. Just if you don't believe in charts, just look left. What is this value right here? 55.8. That's the low. Okay, what is this high here? 2-3 days in a row. high 55.17. So this is 56.2 basically. Look, I'm going to put it right there and see where that white line goes. Look left. It is not a coincidence that they stopped at 56.2. In fact, they should have stopped here, 58. But they didn't. They sliced right through it. So that gives me something to, it verifies the big range they've been trading inside. And so it's safe to sell put spreads, safe. I put safe in quotes. It is a viable tradable thesis to sell put spreads down here and puts. And what do I do with this information tomorrow? So tomorrow I would say they violently rejected the downside. So if it opens and it comes down to 60, somewhere here is a buyable dip all by itself. And then if it rallies into wherever it opens, if it tries to challenge this, I would not get long into this because I just told you there's tremendous selling pressure up there. So I would wait for a breakout. That's how I would handle Twitter. I would wait for the breakout if I don't get long somewhere here, and then I would chase it above here. And then I would be cautious when it gets to 72. I would book some profits, lock some profits, whatever, or expect, or if I didn't get long here, I don't get long here. I get long above here. Patience. So what's wrong with waiting out a few more days and confirm the breakout from here? Because if they break through here, I don't think this will hold. They'll just shoot straight to like 85 or something. But look, this is a weekly chart. Rejection all over the place. So there is definite support down here. 56.2 that was right here. Look left. You can see it now. A whole week's worth of tops. 2, 3, 4. A month of tops right there. And then they busted right through it. They came back and tried to hold. They didn't. They based, tested, and now they tested it overnight. That's a solid floor for now. Okay? That's Twitter. So you have the range. 68, I wouldn't say 56.2 because I don't think they're going to get there, but you got that number. So 68, 64-ish, that's an interim number, and anything below 60 will have buyers, in my opinion, short term. We're talking short term for the earnings reaction. So Microsoft, been on a winning spree. Oh my goodness. Let's go see what they did. By the way, they also beat. Okay, where are you, Microsoft? There you are. Okay, so some sort of a down, whatever happened here. These are days, by the way, and the light color does overnight session. What happens overnight? So look at, wow, that's an active overnight before today. All right. Oh, never mind. Maybe they're putting this stuff in there. Okay, so they closed somewhere in here. The headline came out. They flashed down to 308. But immediately ran. So immediately the range was huge, like 308 to 313, 314. And then after a little hesitation, they went back up there and they hung up there. So now they're breaking highs in the after hours. So it looks like it's going to be a good start of the day for Microsoft. So let me go back to the daily and let's see if we can put those numbers on the chart to give you expectations. So clearly, the bulls are in charge, and now they're up here somewhere overnight. And they tested 308. Let me see if we can make sense of it. Somewhere here. So look left. So they came back and stayed above this. All right, so even if it falls to 300, there's going to be buyers. 308 is support number 1 for tomorrow. Anything below that, I think 302 to 300 is a viable dip. If you want a specific number, if it gets to 298, that's a gift short term. If it gets to 290, it's even a bigger gift short term. If it gets to 280, I would load up. If it loses to 80, I would run for the hills. No, that means the stock market is broken somehow. Something happened. Google has a similar number, but this scenario is highly unlikely given this set of circumstances this week. Okay, so support 1, 308, support 2, 300 to 302, support 3, anywhere below 297, 295, I'm there. What about on the upside? It's in open air. I'm not the one to chase open air, but if you want to do it, it's on you. You better be fast. It's not an entry point for a long-term investment. It's not that obvious. And if it is, if I'm itching to get long-term, I better be young, and I better not go in all in. So if I usually want to buy 100 shares, I should start with like 20. All right, that's Microsoft. So those are two stocks. That's it. As simple as that. The overnight session gives us a clue as to what could happen the next day. It gives me a plan. So the market opens. I already know my levels. 313 matters, 316 matters. Of course, that's the highs. It is an all-time high. So 308 matters, 310 matters. But 308 is where 308's. I think it would be a gift. Look at all these base here, short term. So if I'm ready for the day, I'm less likely to make mistakes, and I'm less likely to be a sheeple to chase at the wrong time.